Hello, my friends, and welcome back to English Adventure Stories. I'm Sarah, and today we're going to address one of the most painful and common challenges that English learners face, regardless of their level of knowledge or years of study. You might know grammar perfectly, have an extensive vocabulary, and understand everything you read or hear in English. But when it comes time to speak, a familiar enemy appears. Insecurity. That voice in your head that whispers, "You're going to sound stupid, everyone will notice your mistakes, you don't deserve to speak this language." This insecurity is not based on your actual English ability. I've met students who speak better English than some native speakers, yet they feel terrified every time they open their mouth. I've also met beginners who speak with confidence and joy, even though their grammar is imperfect. The difference between these two types of learners is not knowledge. It's mindset. It's the collection of thoughts, beliefs, and mental patterns that either support confident speaking or sabotage it before you even begin. Today I want to share with you the exact mindset techniques that transform insecure English speakers into confident communicators. These are not grammar lessons or pronunciation tips. These are psychological tools that reprogram your mind for confident English expression. When you master these techniques, something beautiful happens. Speaking English stops feeling like a test you might fail and starts feeling like a natural expression of who you are. The insecurity that once paralyzed you transforms into excitement about connecting with others. So in this episode, we will explore 7 powerful mindset techniques that will help you overcome speaking insecurity and develop genuine, lasting confidence in your English communication. I will speak slowly and clearly, giving you time to absorb each technique and imagine how it can transform your speaking experience. So take a deep breath, release any tension you're holding, and let's begin building your confident English speaking mindset together. The first technique is cognitive reframing. Most speaking insecurity comes from negative thoughts that run automatically in your mind when you're about to speak English. These thoughts are usually exaggerated, unrealistic, or completely false, but they feel true because they repeat so often. Common insecurity thoughts include: everyone will judge me if I make mistakes, people will think I'm stupid if my grammar isn't perfect, I sound terrible when I speak English, I'm embarrassing myself every time I try to communicate, native speakers are probably laughing at my accent. Cognitive reframing means learning to recognize these negative thoughts and replace them with more realistic, balanced, and supportive thoughts. You don't ignore problems or pretend everything is perfect. You simply choose to think about your English speaking in ways that support your confidence rather than destroy it. Here's how cognitive reframing works in practice. When you catch yourself thinking, "Everyone will judge me if I make mistakes," you consciously reframe this to, "Most people admire anyone who is learning a second language, and small mistakes are completely normal and expected." When you think, "I sound terrible when I speak English," you reframe to, "I'm communicating successfully in a language that isn't my native tongue, which is actually quite impressive. My accent tells the story of where I come from, and that's something to be proud of." When you think, "Native speakers are probably laughing at my accent," you reframe to, "Most native speakers are patient and encouraging with language learners because they understand how challenging it is to learn another language." The key to successful cognitive reframing is to make your new thoughts believable and realistic, not just positive. If you try to replace "I sound terrible" with "I speak perfect English," your brain will reject this because it knows it's not true. But if you reframe to "I'm making good progress and communicating effectively despite some imperfections," your brain can accept this more balanced perspective. Practice catching negative thoughts as they arise and consciously choosing more supportive alternatives. With time and repetition, these positive reframes will become your automatic way of thinking about English speaking. The second technique is evidence-based confidence building. Insecurity often comes from focusing only on your mistakes and weaknesses while ignoring your successes and strengths. Your brain develops a distorted view of your English ability because it pays attention to problems but overlooks progress. Evidence-based confidence building means training yourself to notice and record concrete proof of your English success. Instead of relying on feelings or impressions about your ability, you collect factual evidence that proves you're more capable than your insecurity wants you to believe. Start keeping a success journal where you write down every English-speaking success, no matter how small. Did someone understand your question at the store? Write it down. Did you successfully explain a concept to a colleague? Record it. Did you have a 5-minute conversation without getting stuck? Celebrate it in your journal. Also record moments when people complimented your English, times when you understood something you didn't expect to understand, conversations where you forgot you were speaking a second language, and situations where your English helped you achieve a goal. Review your success journal regularly, especially before situations where you need to speak English. This concrete evidence counteracts the negative voice in your head that claims you can't speak well. When you see written proof of your successes, it becomes much harder to maintain negative beliefs about your ability. You can also collect external evidence of your progress. Save voice recordings from different time periods to hear how much clearer your speech has become. Keep emails or text messages where you expressed yourself well in English. Take photos of certificates, compliments, or achievements related to your English learning. The goal is to build an objective, evidence-based understanding of your English ability rather than relying on subjective feelings that are often influenced by insecurity and fear. When you have concrete proof of your successes, speaking confidence becomes based on reality rather than on anxiety-driven assumptions about your inadequacy. The third technique is visualization and mental rehearsal. Professional athletes use visualization to improve their performance and manage competitive anxiety. They mentally practice their routines, imagine successful outcomes, and prepare their minds for peak performance. You can use the same technique for English-speaking confidence. Mental rehearsal means using your imagination to practice successful English conversations before they happen in real life. This technique works because your brain can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you visualize yourself speaking confidently and successfully, you're actually training your neural pathways for confident behavior. Here's how to practice effective visualization. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed and close your eyes. Imagine yourself in a specific English-speaking situation that typically makes you nervous. Maybe it's ordering at a restaurant, giving a presentation at work, or having a casual conversation with native speakers. Visualize the scene in vivid detail. See the environment, hear the sounds, feel the physical sensations. Now imagine yourself speaking clearly, confidently, and naturally. See yourself making good eye contact, using appropriate gestures, and expressing your thoughts effectively. Visualize the other people responding positively to you. See them listening with interest, understanding your message, and engaging with your ideas. Imagine the satisfaction and pride you feel when the conversation goes well. Practice this visualization regularly, especially before real speaking situations. The more vividly and frequently you imagine successful English conversations, the more natural and automatic confident speaking becomes in real life. You can also use mental rehearsal to prepare for specific conversations. If you have an important phone call in English tomorrow, spend a few minutes tonight visualizing the call going smoothly. Imagine yourself speaking clearly, understanding the other person, and accomplishing your communication goals. This mental preparation reduces anxiety and increases actual performance because your brain has already practiced the successful outcome multiple times in imagination. The fourth technique is self-compassion practice. Many English learners are incredibly harsh and critical with themselves when they make mistakes or don't perform perfectly. They use internal language that they would never use with a friend. Saying things like, "You're so stupid, why can't you speak better? Everyone can see how bad your English is." This harsh self-criticism creates enormous stress and anxiety that actually makes speaking worse. When you're worried about being cruel to yourself after making mistakes, speaking becomes emotionally dangerous. Your brain tries to protect you from this emotional pain by avoiding English speaking altogether. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness, patience, and understanding that you would show to a good friend who was learning English. It means recognizing that making mistakes and feeling uncertain are normal parts of the learning process, not character flaws that deserve punishment. When you make a mistake or feel insecure about your English, practice responding with self-compassion. Instead of, "I'm so stupid for forgetting that word," try, "It's completely normal to forget words sometimes, even in my native language. I'm learning and growing, and mistakes are part of that process." Instead of, "I sound terrible when I speak." Try, "I'm being incredibly brave by communicating in a second language. Most people never attempt what I'm doing, and I should be proud of my courage and effort." Instead of, "Everyone must think I'm ignorant," try, "I'm doing something difficult and impressive by speaking English. Any reasonable person would respect the effort I'm making to communicate across language barriers." Self-compassion also means celebrating your efforts, not just your results. Acknowledge yourself for trying to speak English, even when it doesn't go perfectly. Recognize the courage it takes to communicate in a second language and the persistence it requires to keep practicing despite challenges. When you treat yourself with compassion, speaking English becomes emotionally safer. You know that even if you make mistakes, you won't attack yourself afterward. This emotional safety allows your natural speaking ability to emerge without the interference of anxiety and self-criticism. The fifth technique is anchor positive experiences. Your brain naturally remembers negative experiences more strongly than positive ones. This is an evolutionary survival mechanism, but it creates problems for language learning because you tend to remember embarrassing speaking moments more vividly than successful ones. Anchoring positive experiences means consciously strengthening the memory of successful, enjoyable English conversations so they have more influence on your confidence than negative experiences do. Immediately after any positive English speaking experience, no matter how small, spend a few minutes consciously reinforcing the memory. Replay the conversation in your mind, focusing on what went well. Remember how it felt to communicate successfully, to be understood, to express your thoughts clearly. Write about the experience in detail, describing not just what happened but how you felt during the successful communication. What emotions did you experience? What physical sensations accompanied your confidence? How did it feel to connect with someone in English? You can also create physical anchors for confident speaking experiences. During moments when you feel particularly confident and successful in English, make a specific physical gesture like pressing your thumb and forefinger together or touching your heart. Practice this anchor during positive experiences so you can use it later to recall confident feelings. Before challenging English speaking situations, take time to remember your most successful English conversations. Replay them vividly in your mind, recalling not just what you said but how confident and capable you felt. This positive memory priming helps you approach new situations with confidence rather than anxiety. The goal is to build a strong collection of positive English speaking memories that your brain can access when you need confidence. Instead of your mind automatically recalling embarrassing moments, it will start automatically recalling successful experiences. The sixth technique is progressive exposure therapy. Many people try to overcome speaking insecurity by jumping into the most challenging situations immediately. They force themselves to give presentations or have complex debates before they've built basic confidence. This often backfires and increases insecurity. Progressive exposure means gradually increasing the challenge level of your English speaking practice in a way that builds confidence step by step. You start with situations that feel manageable and slowly work up to more challenging scenarios as your confidence grows. Create a ladder of English speaking challenges, starting with the easiest situations and progressing to the most difficult. For example, your ladder might look like this. Level 1. Speaking English to yourself in the mirror for 1 minute. Level 2. Recording yourself speaking about a simple topic and listening to the recording. Level 3. Having a brief English conversation with a patient friend or family member. Level 4. Asking one simple question in English to a store employee. Level 5. Having a 5-minute conversation with an English speaker online. Level 6. Participating in an English conversation group. Level 7. Giving a short presentation to colleagues or classmates. The key is to move to the next level only after you feel genuinely comfortable and confident at your current level. Don't rush the process. Spend as much time as you need at each level to build solid confidence before progressing. If you feel overwhelmed at any level, it's okay to go back to an easier level temporarily. The goal is steady progress, not perfect linear advancement. Some days you might feel ready for bigger challenges, other days you might need to practice at easier levels. This gradual approach works because each successful experience at a manageable level builds confidence for the next challenge. You develop a track record of success that proves to yourself that you can handle English-speaking situations. Progressive exposure also allows you to develop coping strategies for anxiety and mistakes in lower-pressure situations before you encounter them in high-stakes scenarios. The seventh and final technique is identity affirmation. Deep speaking insecurity often comes from negative beliefs about your identity as an English speaker. You might see yourself as someone who is bad at languages, not smart enough for fluency, or destined to always struggle with English. Identity affirmation means consciously choosing empowering beliefs about who you are as an English learner and speaker. Instead of seeing yourself as inadequate or defective, you choose to see yourself as courageous, capable, and constantly improving. Create positive identity statements that you repeat regularly, especially before speaking situations. I am someone who communicates effectively in English. I am brave enough to express myself in a second language. I am constantly improving my English skills. I deserve to be heard and understood regardless of my accent or occasional mistakes. Choose statements that feel inspiring but also believable to you. If I speak perfect English feels fake, try I am becoming more fluent every day, or I communicate well despite occasional imperfections. Repeat these identity affirmations daily, preferably while looking at yourself in the mirror. Say them with conviction and feeling, not just as empty words. The goal is to gradually reprogram your self-concept from insecure English speaker to confident communicator. Also notice and challenge identity-limiting language that you use about yourself. Instead of saying, "I'm terrible at speaking English," say, "I'm developing my speaking skills." Instead of, "I'm not a language person," say, "I'm learning to use my language abilities more effectively." The language you use to describe yourself becomes your reality over time. When you consistently describe yourself as someone who is growing, learning, and becoming more confident, this becomes your actual experience. Act like the confident English speaker you want to become, even before you feel completely confident. How would a confident speaker prepare for conversations? How would they handle mistakes? How would they think about their accent and imperfections? So, my friends, today we explored 7 powerful techniques to overcome speaking insecurity and build genuine English confidence. First, cognitive reframing to replace negative automatic thoughts with balanced, supportive ones. Second, evidence-based confidence building to focus on concrete proof of your successes rather than dwelling on weaknesses. Third, visualization and mental rehearsal to practice successful speaking scenarios in your imagination. Fourth, self-compassion practice to treat yourself with kindness rather than harsh criticism. Fifth, anchoring positive experiences to strengthen memories of successful English communication. Sixth, progressive exposure therapy to gradually build confidence through manageable challenges. And seventh, identity affirmation to reprogram your self-concept as a capable English communicator. These techniques work together to create a comprehensive transformation in how you think and feel about speaking English. They address the root psychological causes of speaking insecurity rather than just the surface symptoms. Remember that overcoming speaking insecurity is a process, not a single event. Be patient with yourself as you practice these techniques and notice gradual changes in your confidence level. Some days will feel more confident than others, and that's completely normal. The goal is not to eliminate all nervousness about speaking English. Even native speakers feel nervous in challenging communication situations. The goal is to develop enough confidence and mental tools that you can speak effectively despite occasional nerves. Your insecurity about speaking English is not a permanent part of your personality. It's a learned response that can be unlearned through conscious practice and mental training. Every confident English speaker was once exactly where you are now. The techniques I've shared today have helped thousands of English learners transform their speaking experience from anxiety and shame to confidence and joy. Now you have these same tools, and with consistent practice, they will work for you too. Thank you for joining me on English Adventure Stories. I'm Sarah, and I hope these mindset techniques will help you overcome speaking insecurity and discover the confident English speaker that already exists within you. Until next time, keep practicing these mental tools, keep being kind to yourself, and keep believing in your ability to communicate beautifully in English. Goodbye for now.